Wemyss Bay, or Wemyss Bay as the locals would correct me, is a stunning coastal village situated about an hour from Glasgow on the west coast of Scotland, and probably more commonly known for its architecturally famous railway station, where you can also catch the ferry to the beautiful Isle of Bute. But did you also know that Wemyss Bay is home to the last parish which falls under the Diocese of Paisley, the small parish of St Joseph's and St Patrick's? This parish may be small, but make no mistake, it's a huge beating heart in the centre of the community. Last year alone, the parishioners contributed a staggering 1.8 tonnes of food to their local food bank. And considering they have less than 300 registered parishioners, that is certainly no mean feat. So I popped along to meet 3 of its parishioners, Helen, Gerry and Christine, who are also members of the Parish Pastoral Council, to find out a little bit more about their parish and its role in the community. Helen, as chair of the Parish Pastoral Council, why don't you tell me a little bit more about the parish?
Sure. We felt that being at the furthest reaches of the diocese, the furthest west, we're not sure that people know we're here. So we wanted to talk about some of the things that we do here and what makes us tick, if you like. So essentially, we cover the villages of Wemyss Bay and Inverkip, but in reality, the people of Skelmerley tend to come here too for Mass and other things. But I think what's important to say is we feel we're quite an active community here, and that's significant being within villages, that we can reach out, but also that people are taking part in various groups that we have here in the parish. And just having a little think about it, there's probably about 30% of our parish community who in some way or other are working sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes a little bit more to the front of activities, but taking an active part in what we do here.
It's great though that so many of your parishioners get involved. Now, I wanted to ask you about the handover document that you've created.
Well, it's we call it our contingency plan. It came about a number of years ago when our parish priest became ill suddenly, and we then had to sort of regroup and see how the parish was going to function going forward. And from that, we decided it would be good to have a type of handbook, what we would do in an emergency, how we can support the parish, and even down to local trades, etc., if there's anything that we need in terms of the parish estate to support that. It's kind of document where if you had a changeover of priest, you could hand that over and say, this is us and this is how we operate at the moment. The key thing about it is we have detailed all the different groups who participate in the life of the parish and make sure it's functioning and support the parish priest, obviously. That can be the sacristans who are opening up the church and ensuring everything's ready for the start of Mass. We have a great group of welcomers who are there even to respond to any queries of parishioners arriving at church if Father is busy, and ensuring that the vestments are in good order, the altar cloths and supplies are all there. Obviously, we have our flowers changed frequently, and that's just a small number of the groups that we have detailed within that. And it's a document then that it's taken a while to come together, but it's been really helpful for us, and we'd be happy to share that as a template to anyone else that might consider having that for their own parish. We review it every year to make sure all our contacts are up to date. And I have to say, as chair of the Parish Pastoral Council, it's so reassuring to have that outlined for me in the event of any emergency. I know what to do and who to speak to and who to address, and all these different groups we have together who are coordinating our services.
Helen, that sounds like such a worthwhile resource and a weight off your mind should there ever be an emergency situation again. Although, fingers crossed, we hope that won't happen. Now, Gerry, I'd like to come to you and ask how technology has made ways within your parish.
Yeah, what we're looking at over the recent years, particularly since the pandemic, that we're now streaming Mass on a regular basis. Every Mass it's said is streamed, and we now have well over 400 subscribers to our YouTube channel. But that's a one-way communication out of the way. So we've now moved forward with an online parish register, and that allows a two-way communication with parishioners. It allows us to engage more with them, and helps us to develop another method of evangelisations that we're. So we've only been doing the parish register since last December, and we're already up at 285 registrations. And we've got our weekly bulletin is in the system. We've got online forms in there. One that's used particularly well is a prayer circle intention. We parish as a prayer circle which allows parishioners to write out in a slip of paper their intention that they want prayed for. They drop it in a box in the church, and then that gets passed to the prayer circle, who then pray for that intention. With the parish register, we now have this form online, so that it allows someone who, perhaps somebody, a family member sort of takes ill, they can just go into the app and they can put the prayer intention in there, and then it's picked up right away. They've not got to wait until they're back at the church to put it in, so that's been quite popular. We also have events in the parish register, so we're able to have all the special collections are all noted as events, and through those events you can link to make payments online as well through the Diocese online giving page, and we've got all the holidays of obligation in there, all social events are in there, so we're promoting any events that we have as well, and we're now started to email parishioners out on specific issues that are happening. One that we'll be talking about later would be the Heart Start. There was some training happening on that. We put an email out on that, which got a good response to the training.
So tell me a little bit more about promoting these events.
Yeah, what we can also do is on the homepage of the app, we can feature events as they're coming around. So that will hopefully draw attention to them, to anyone using the app, and that's in addition to us also emailing out on individual events where we think it's important to do so, and as I said, we're experimenting with that aspect at the moment, trying to develop that further, and the app provides many other features, and I think our Parish Priest finds it quite useful. One of the aspects that the app provides is the ability for the parish priest to look at a map of where everyone's staying across the area. And if he's doing a sick call and isn't sure where someone's staying, if they're registered, he can go in and he can see on the map where the location is, and that helps him out that way as well. So there are other benefits behind the scenes that your average parishioner might not be aware of.
So tell me, Gerry, how would a new parishioner register?
Well, what we have is postcards at the back of the church, which has a QR code on them, and it gives them details as why it's important to register. We also have it in our bulletin notice as well on how to register. And when they go to the online form and they register, they'll then get information emailed back to them that will give them information on how they can download an app. So there's an app available that allows them to then have the app on their phone, so that they can readily get into their app. They can see the bulletin, they can see the online forms, they can see all the events, and they can see their own details as well. And if they need to change their details, they're able to update their own details and change address or phone number or whatever.
I know you were saying this is still a kind of new introduction into your parish, but it sounds like it's such a useful tool. It's got a long way to go.
Yeah, we're only coming up to the first year of its use, and we're only using a fraction of the system. We're only using a third of it, and yet we're still covering quite a wide range of things within it. I think a key aspect is that a parish register is more than just a list of names and addresses of people registered. You've really got to make use of that resource and try to expand how you use technology going forward. So hopefully over that, it might take a number of years, but we'll aim to keep developing that as people become more comfortable, our parishioners become more comfortable with how it works and how it's used, because it's a cultural change to bring this technology in.
Do you feel like maybe the older people in your parish have adapted to it quite well?
Yeah, well, we have 285 registered, which took me by surprise. I didn't expect to get that number so quickly. So they all have engaged with it very well.
That's amazing. So, Christine, we heard Gerry mentioning the Heart Start. I believe you've got a defib in the church. Tell me about this.
So the defib initiative, the parishioners actually fundraised to buy a defib in about 2014, and once they got the defib, then it was important that we ensured that people in the community were trained to use the defib, because back in 2015 the rate of people surviving outside of hospital with a cardiac arrest was 1 in 20, and today it's now down to about 1 in 10, and that's because the Scottish in Scotland in particular, they've had a drive to ensure that the community have been trained in how to use a defib and to do CPR in the community. So we contacted the first responders down in Largs, who come once a year to do an annual training session for all our community, our parishioners, and this year we've now included the community, other churches, anybody in the community, so that they can actually know how to perform CPR, how to use a defib, and how to perform first aid, anything from a fainting to an epileptic fit or a massive hemorrhage. So they're very aware on how to treat people. So we are one of the safest parishes in the community.
And so if I'm not in the parish when an emergency happens, I can come here to get the defib.
So the system would be that if you were at the site of an emergency, you'd dial 999 and the operator would tell you where the nearest defib is. And if it's our defib, then you'd be instructed to come and you'd be given the code to open up the cabinet and take the defib to the actual casualty. And once you're there with the casualty, you would then be instructed not only by the defib, because the defib will talk to you and tell you exactly where to place the pads and how to operate the defib, but the operator would stay online with you until the first responders or the emergency ambulance would attend the site.
So even if I haven't done the training, I can still come up and take the defib?
It is very simple to operate, and even without training, you could do it. You would be more confident if you undertake the training, and you would feel that you're doing a really good job. So that's why we like to promote it.
When I was talking to Helen earlier, she mentioned that there were some groups who contribute to the parish life, and I believe you're involved in one of those groups called the Care and Kindness Group.
Yeah, so this group was born really after the pandemic, when it was a lot of the parishioners who were elderly and didn't feel comfortable to come back to Mass. We knew that they were watching online, we knew they were still had contact with Father, but we still wanted as a community to reach out to them and support them and to say that we're still thinking and praying for them. So one of our first initiatives, we developed like Christmas cards with a little prayer in it and gave them some chocolate and delivered it to their door. We've now recently included some of the children in the parish to actually make some of the gifts, and they've made some Easter gifts. They made Easter gifts and Easter cards, and also some Christmas cards. They're at the moment making this year's Christmas gift for the group that we will deliver out to. But one of the other aspects of it was a couple of our parishioners who were very seriously ill. Father had asked me to think of what we could do, and we developed a prayer shawl. And the idea behind this is that whilst the prayer shawl's been made, the person that's making the prayer shawl, one of our parishioners, is actually praying for that person and their intentions. And then we take that prayer shawl to them and give it to them as a gift with an explanation of what's behind it. And it's almost like feeling like you've got God's love wrapped around you at a time when you need it most. And it's given them a lot of comfort at that time.
That is such a beautiful, beautiful idea. I just want to say a huge thank you to you, Helen, Gerry and Christine, and your parishioners here for the lovely warm welcome I've had at St Joseph's and St Patrick's. I've really enjoyed hearing about how your parish works and the lovely services you have to offer. I really hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode, and if you haven't been to Wemyss Bay and the parish here, please do consider stopping by. It's in a beautiful part of Scotland with stunning views across the Firth of Clyde. And if you would like your parish to feature in one of our podcasts or have an idea for us to cover, please feel free to get in touch via our Facebook page. Just search Diocese of Paisley and send us a DM, and I'll look forward to hearing from you.